In last week's video, my friend Rama Sabakan was giving us a tour of his amazing shop, Skoolz of Fish, down in Richmond. Video was getting a bit long, so decided to break it up into two parts. Here is part two. Let's go back down to Richmond, meet up with Rama, and finish the tour.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Rama Sabakan, owner of Skoolz of Fish. Can I take you on a tour?
Let's go.
All right, come on. And this is gonna be our kind of touch tank. So when we get like big starfish, we put them in here. We're gonna put like maybe like a little shark, like a bamboo shark that doesn't get too big. Make sure you got a tank appropriate for that. So over here is gonna be our wild discus tank. We don't sell a lot of wild discus, but we like to keep them for displays. Right now, some of these guys aren't too happy. One thing right now, we're having ammonia spikes in the tap water. We did a water change on this a few weeks ago, and they did not like it at all. So some of them are recovering. They've come back to their glory, but there still are a couple that, you know, back to where they were before.
And what is this tank? 4 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet?
Yes, sir. This is the only tank that we've gotten into here that we actually did not pick up. Nobody exerted any energy picking this up. We actually used our heads to move this in here. I had a customer that helped. We pretty much used like a lever system to pull it up, and we actually used a lever system to pick it up onto the stand.
Nice.
So this thing, we tried picking it up. It was virtually impossible because it's hard to grip and it's very heavy.
I've got suction cups if you need to move tanks later. I got 8 of them.
We have suction cups too. I'm just real scary of using suction cups. I know
scary.
They work, but I'll probably take you up on that offer next time.
I'm not saying I'll help carry the tanks. I'm just saying you can use my suction cups.
Well, hey, well, I appreciate the offer nonetheless. And this tank right here, this is going to be where we're going to keep all our pikes. This is going to be somebody's, hopefully, new fish soon. That's our zebra pike. He's not normally shy, but I actually just did a water change this morning. And we have a lot of bichers. I call them bichers. Some people call them bachiers. Like I said, tomato.
5 or 6 different pronunciations for that.
Yeah.
That pike might have to come home with me today. I don't know.
Yeah, he's probably one of the nicest pikes. Quick story, I tell you, I went to Uruguay, and we caught some pikes, and the tour guide, who, Felipe, was actually deceased. We caught a pike, lenticulata, not a lenticulata, I can't remember the name exactly, but it was a very expensive pike. I caught 4 of them, but we had to split them up, so I was only able to bring 2 back. So I had 2 pikes that at the time were like $250, $350 value a piece. And this is when I first got into the business, and I put a gopher catfish in the tank with them. And I know gophers had a reputation for eating fish, but gopher was probably about that big. The pike was about that big. I said, there's no way that he can eat them. Sure enough, he ate about $500, $600 worth of fish.
Oh, no.
So, and I was so glad. I sold him much cheaper, but I was so glad to get rid of that fish.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah, we have some red Atabapo pikes in here also. He's come out a little bit. But yeah, when that red fires up, it's a very beautiful pike.
He is.
And this is another mascot that we cannot sell. This is Mr. Grumpy right here, our caiman lizard. He likes to smile for the camera, but he does get a little grumpy, sometimes. There you go. There you go. He, when I first got into the reptiles, I thought that this reptile would not be captivated, would be able to be captive.
Held captive.
Held captive.
Well, that sounds like you're kidnapping him. whatever. We know what you're saying.
Yeah, but you know, he came around. You know, he will let you. He fights it.
Oh.
But he does let you pick him up, and he eventually calms down. He just puts on a little bluff.
When I was here last time, one of your employees was feeding him, and it was the most adorable thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, they
the cutest.
Naturally eat snails in the wild, so they're very slow, but you would not want to get bit by them.
Oh.
Because if it has the pressure enough to crush a snail shell, I'm pretty sure it can do some damage to your finger.
Yep.
But this tank, we're actually getting it, we're going to change it around. We had a bunch of koi and goldfish in here with them. But like I said, I try to keep things as natural as possible. So I'm actually going to put rays in here. So we're going to change the filtration, clean the pond up a little bit more, put some plants in here, and put some rays in here to get it as natural as possible. Nice. He doesn't seem to care about fish at all. These tanks, we get a lot of trade in. One thing about my store, we sell a lot of big fish, and that's what sets us apart from a lot of other fish stores in the area. So we sell a lot of fish, big fish, but we also get a lot of big fish brought in. We actually just had a big red-tailed catfish, probably about 2 feet long, that we just sold out of here. That's why it's empty. Red-tailed catfish is a fish that I don't really recommend selling or buying.
Sorry.
I would say probably 8 out of 10 people who buy red-tailed catfish, it ends up eating everything in their tank, and it grows much faster than they think. They say, oh, I'm going to get a big tank. I'm going to get 180-gallon tanks in 3 months. And 3 months later, that fish that was 2 inches is probably now 8 inches and probably ate about $300-400 worth of fish. So red-tailed catfish, it's a beautiful catfish. It's probably the most beautiful catfish that I know about, but it's not really a good aquarium pet.
It looks it's most beautiful when it's in a river.
Exactly.
Not in an aquarium.
Yeah, it's nice to be admired but not kept. But if you have the tank for it, I say go for it. It's who am I to judge?
There's plenty of people out there that have them in appropriate sized tanks, but unfortunately, there's more that have them in tanks that are way too small.
Oh yeah. I've seen a few. I won't call anybody out. This tank, when I said we had some peacock bass for sale, we got a couple small Temensis, some red-based snooks, clown loach, and a Lima catfish. This tank also had a big tiger shovel nose probably 2 weeks ago. That fish was probably about 2.5 feet, but we sold that. Like I said, people love the big fish around here. This is our Placo tank section. We have some green phantom, the L200s. We have some big bristlenose Placos. These are the Placos that I recommend among all the Placos because they don't get too big and they actually do a really good job of keeping the tanks clean. They only max out about 6 inches. We get all different types, albinos, green dragons, white seams. We actually have a lot of customers that are breeding these. So they're usually very hardy fish. And we have like these guys, which are gold vampires. Not good at cleaning the tank at all. They actually have small fangs. A lot of times when I take pictures of Placos, I'll pick them up by their heads and show them. And I made a mistake one time of doing that with a full-grown vampire, and it sunk his fangs into me. Wasn't too bad. I've been bit worse, but definitely won't recommend with those guys. African peacocks, this whole section was filled with Africans when I got back, the peacocks and the Mabunas. We sold typically almost all of them. I will be getting a lot more African cichlids tomorrow. Here are our stingrays. It's been a long time in getting rays, but they're finally starting to come back. There was a CITES 3 ban on them, which was making it really hard to get the wild caught rays. You were only able to get the captive bred ones, and with the captive bred, they're a lot hardier, but they're a lot more expensive because of the work that people put into them to make sure that they're healthy and able to ship. So those are the Maturos. Those are probably the cheapest, nicest ones that you can get. Those start off at $250, but we sell a lot of them. We just got a bunch of those in.
Yeah, we might be talking about those in the future too, because I miss having rays.
Yeah, like I said, this tank's a little sad. This is just what's left over. This was a Royal Rostratus. He would have sold, but he has a bad eye. One thing about me, I'm not, sometimes you can walk into the store and you can see a fish that's not the nicest or may have something with them. I don't like putting fish down. And we actually have a lot of customers that like fish that have deformities or something odd about them. So there's a fish for everybody. So, you know, he's not going to be full price, but, you know, there's going to be a person that likes a pirate fish. So,
yeah.
You know, we'll leave him for somebody that likes that.
Now let's start some controversy.
Now
here.
the controversy begins. As you can see, my kind of homemade top. But this is the Arapaima. Of any fish that you should not have in an aquarium, and it may seem a little contradicting, it's an Arapaima. I don't buy these. I don't typically sell these. This came from a customer that had no choice but to get rid of them. These fish look like dragons when they get full grown. I think they max out something like 14 feet. I've actually seen one at the DC Aquarium that was probably about 12 feet long.
I've seen the same one.
It should not be in a tank, and this tank is going to be way too small for it. This is something that I'm probably going to donate to National Aquarium or someplace like the DC Aquarium. Everybody has tried to purchase this guy. I do not sell him, not because I'm attached to him, it's just my conscience doesn't really want to sell Arapaimas to anybody.
And because of that, I would like to make a video all about Arapaimas after this, if you're up for that.
Hey, I'm always up for it.
Cool.
You know, and actually just a little side note, I just went down to Florida. They actually have these down in Florida right now.
Oh.
It's just another invasive fish to add to the list down there. And in this tank, we actually had a bunch more fish in here, but I just got these raised and I don't want any other fish messing with them. This is a marble maturo. I think he's a male. And I have a male, female flower straterized stingray. That's probably one of my favorites. They haven't really colored up yet. We just got those in about 2 weeks, but they're starting to eat. But I'm real big on stingrays. And there's another animal that, you know, it's a little controversy on the size of the tank. I found with rays, size does matter with them, but it's more so making sure that they have good water quality. And these guys eat a lot and they poop a lot. So if you have a 180 gallon, you have to have a filtration system that can handle that bio load. I had a customer that actually kind of my stingray guru. He had 5 full-grown marble maturos breeding in a 180. It was 180 gallons, but it actually was probably additional 200 gallons of filtration through a sump system. And he had like a vortex filter that was able to pump out all the big waste. He bred, you know, several times in that tank. You know, it seemed crowded, but I found there's more so water quality with these guys. So lots of water changes. So that's pretty much the fish back here. We can go into the news section.
Yeah, let's do it.
Which may have to change the name pretty soon. All right, so you're at Skoolz of Fish, but like I said, I may have to change the name. We sell reptiles now, so maybe I have to change it to Skoolz of Pets or something like that. But we just started selling reptiles. If I didn't get into it, we actually moved to this new location last year, and we started off with turtles, and it kind of, next thing we had a few geckos. Now we have a reptile room. We sell lots of different snakes, reptiles, like these basilisks. I don't know if you ever heard anybody talking about doing toad. Not that we're promoting that around here, but I think that's what it is. They licked this back in the 70s or 80s. They used to lick toads. And these were the actual, you know, psychedelic toads that they were talking about. Why anybody just out the blue lick this toad? I mean, I don't know how that came to fruition.
Who was the first one to figure that out?
Who was the first one to figure that out? I won't ask no questions on that. But we get a lot of cool reptiles like these crested geckos. We've actually been selling a lot, so I have a big shipment that I have to get. We have this crocodile skink, which he's surprisingly out. These guys look like little mini dragons. We have a cool clown frog.
She doesn't want to focus.
Yeah, he doesn't want to focus, but little clown frog. He actually has real nice color on him, but you can see his underbelly right now.
We see your privates.
Yeah, he's not too modest. We got a blue-tongued skink and another basilisk. He actually was a little cannibal. He just ate 2 of his brothers and sisters.
Oh no.
Like brown bass, actually wild caught from down in Florida. Things like the Pac-Man frogs, those are real popular. Before I get to those, let me just show you. We've been selling a lot of these guys lately. So we're very thin, but we sell a lot of snakes like these ball pythons.
Nice.
They're real popular. They don't get too big, and you know, people absolutely love them. They collect them, and we have to get our stock. Now that I take him out, he doesn't want to go back in. They're actually
It's a good thing Lisa's not here. She is terrified of
well,
snakes.
You know, we've actually had a lot of customers that were terrified of snakes, and now they're on like their 4th snake. But this is what my pride and joy. I'll get into the fish breeding in a minute. I'm real big into breeding. So with the reptiles, this is pretty much what I love the most. And I haven't turned the lights on, so bear with me while I grab him, and hopefully he doesn't freak out and bite me.
It'll get me more views if he bites you.
Oh yeah, that probably would go viral.
Whoa.
These are tegus. They're very smart reptiles. They're a monitor species, but they don't get too big. And you know, they come in a wide variety of different colors and, you know, morphs. And
Awesome.
you know, really cool specimens, but want to try to get into breeding these. And my reptile employee, the guru himself, Kyle, just walked in. I don't know if he wants to come speak.
He snuck in there in the back.
Let me see if he's right. Hey, Kyle. Hey, you want to come introduce yourself real quick? All right, Kyle's coming on the way. He's actually kind of the architect behind this. You know, I like to take credit for it, but he's pretty much taught me a lot about the reptiles, so I kind of go to him. I'm honest enough to kind of admit that. But
Good,
just
how
want
are
to
you?
introduce yourself. And
I do all the reptiles here. I also help Ronald run the store about 5 days a week. And I'm learning about everything saltwater and freshwater, which has actually been super fun and super educational. Not only for him, but the customers come in and teach me so much, and my coworkers as well. But really, this is my kingdom. This is what makes sense to me and what's easy for me. I've been doing it a really long time. I also breed reptiles on the side. Some of the ball pythons that we have, me and my family breed. Same with some of the geckos and a whole bunch of other stuff I keep at home that you're probably going to see in the store pretty soon, hopefully.
Nice. Wasn't expecting a special guest. That's awesome.
I'm bringing the rodents so you can feed everything today.
Oh, I will not be watching that. I'm a softie when it comes to that stuff.
yeah, I'm not real big. I'm coming around myself, but it's part of life.
Yep.
You know, you got to eat.
Circle of life.
But just kind of give you another quick tour. This is where we keep our dry goods. One thing that the last shop that we had, we were more production. I was more about the fish. Right now I'm realizing customers want a kind of one-stop shop to come to. So we're selling a lot more supplies and still have a lot more that we're starting to stock up. But you know, we sell our kind of water enhancers and medications.
And Extreme, I see.
Oh yeah,
We are
Extreme.
big Extreme people,
You know,
so
I may have learned Extreme from you. I'm not, can't remember or not.
make
It's,
sure you tell the bureaus that.
I will. Gotta give you credit. Big up you for that. You know, John's a real big pusher of Extreme, and it's probably one of the best foods that I push more so than any other food.
We love it too.
But yeah, you sell our filters and just general, you know, driftwood. These spiderwood are very, you know, popular right now. We've actually get a lot of these, and they sell really fast. So that's pretty much our supplies that we have. I'll just show you in the back room right now. Got some work to do to it. It's not the cleanest right now, but a fish store is the good and bad and the ugly. The ugly is you have to have quarantine tanks. We're going to be expanding our quarantine because we have a lot of tanks, and you have to have quarantine because some fish are going to come in beat up. Some fish will beat each other up. Some fish will have diseases and parasites. You have to be able to pull those. You can't have those out for customers to see or for customers to purchase, because a lot of times some customers may not know that these fish are sick. So we try to pull fish and put them out when we can. We had a bunch of, one thing about the peacocks and a lot of the Africans, cichlids, they have to stay crowded. When you have a full tank, they get along, but when we start to sell down and numbers get down, they start fighting a lot. So these are the guys that were getting beat up by some of the other ones. And you know, when customers bring fish in, we make sure we quarantine everything because we just can't give that level of trust. This is pretty much our RO and saltwater, well, saltwater and RO. We have a lot of saltwater customers that they like to purchase their water and have it purchased pre-mixed. Over here, it's a work in progress, but this is our breeding section, or gonna be our breeding section. Anybody that knows me knows that I do a lot of breeding. That's what I enjoy most about the hobby. I feel that's what's taught me the most about the hobby. I like to watch and view the fish and see how they act, and that tells me what those fish are like in their general nature. But you kind of see their true nature when they're breeding, see their true colors when they're breeding also. I'm really big into South Americans and Central Americans. I have some Sajicas, some T-bar cichlids, some Labiatus geophaguses. We had some red tiger motaguense fry in here. I'm not sure if, I went to Florida and I'm not sure if they were being fed, so they may not be in there anymore. And I have some general stuff. I have some Adenocara, some Adenocaras. It's a type of acara that comes from Panama that I got from Max Cichlids. Really beautiful fish. I'm gonna try to breed those. And we just have some bigger tanks for when we get bigger fish. Like I said, I got them set up and I got them cycled, but I haven't really set up everything yet. I'll probably get these going probably in the next couple weeks. And just the last thing that I have, and this is gonna be the food we're gonna feed the puffer. I'm gonna thaw out a little bit, give you guys a treat before you leave.
Nice.
Oh, sorry, say you guys again. We're gonna,
it's okay.
It's okay.
We'll forgive you.
We'll forgive, I'm forgiven, hope I'm forgiven. All right, back here, like I said, it's a work in progress. We're pretty new here. We're learning the ins and outs. I'm learning where I can do and where I can set things up. It's not really set up yet. I got to do the fencing and I got to do the shelving on this, but this is where we're going to be doing our koi. We have a lot of koi and outside pond customers. So we're going to be having a lot of them out here. Also, another thing that I do a lot of native fish collecting. I had an account that actually, it was through the school systems that I got into that we pull a lot of seine nets and dip netting, and we call a lot of native fish to kind of teach kids about conservations and things of that nature. So I want to apply that same thing here. So we're going to get set up here. We're going to be catching a lot of fish from the wild. We're not going to be keeping them and breeding them. We're going to be doing it more so from a conservation standpoint, to do workshops, teach kids about, you know, wildlife and, you know, things that they can kind of learn from, not neglect that's right underneath their noses. And we're going to be getting these set up with tanks, ponds for those. So that should be ready probably in the next, by summertime. I don't want to give a deadline because probably not going to get done by that deadline. So that's pretty much Skoolz of Fish in a nutshell. One of the reasons why I actually called the business Skoolz of Fish is because I'm always learning. You can never know everything there is about the business, about fish. Like I said, I started off with fish and now I'm doing reptiles. And, you know, I'm also doing kind of full circle. Now I'm going back to kind of native fish. So, you know, that's pretty much who we are and what we offer to the public. You guys can check us out on Facebook, Skoolz, Skoolz 99 at Facebook, or you can catch us on Instagram, Skoolz of fish, OFFISH.com.
I'll put a link down below in the description for that.
All right, cool stuff.
Thanks for the tour, man. This was a lot of fun.
No problem. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming by.
All right, what do you think? That is an awesome shop. Am I right? Come on. I mean, I absolutely love that shop. One of my favorites now, and no, it's not because it's owned by a friend of mine. I mean, I love it. He's done a really good job. His older shop was cool, but nothing like this one. So really proud of him, really happy that he's been able to ramp things up and get that beautiful space, all the really cool things that he's doing in there. It's a wonderland for somebody that likes glass boxes full of water. I can't wait to get back down there again. The good news though, is while I was there, Rama was willing to take the time to make 2 additional videos with me. One all about keeping pufferfish, which is awesome because I don't know the first thing about pufferfish. but I really like them. And I'm thinking about it, I am. But anyway, the other is gonna be kind of a controversial video. It's gonna be all about Arapimas and how you should not keep those in aquariums. So if you wanna see those, you're definitely gonna wanna make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. I'm not gonna be putting them out every single week. They'll be spread out a little bit. We've got other stuff too, but really looking forward to sharing those with you and looking forward to working with him some more in the future. And he even hinted about maybe me tagging along with him when he goes on one of his collecting trips. Yes, he goes all over the place and collects fish and then sells them in the store. It's awesome. And it's something I've never done, so I can't wait to do that. Hopefully we get to do that this year. I don't know. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that. But anyway, this whole thing was a lot of fun. Thanks for going along the ride with me. Bye.